guys, let's get right into it. So Cynthia, I really feel like Cynthia is going to have to pull a Tinsley Mortimer. I don't think it's what she wants. I think it would be ideal for her to, a Tinsley Mortimer is where you actually live in a different place other than the place where your show is filming, but you come back for 6 months to that place that your show is filming and act like you live there. I think what Cynthia wants to do is she wants to live in LA because that's where her daughter is and that's where her future husband is. Like, that's where they live. And I think that's where she wants to live. And I think there's also great opportunities out here for her in LA. However, what's really paying her right now is the show. When she says she doesn't want to leave Lake Bailey, I took that to interpret, I don't want to leave the show. And you cannot be on the show if you don't live, work, and play in Atlanta. So I think what she's probably going to do, I hope that she does this, because I feel like this is the smartest thing to do, is to probably, rent out Lake Bailey, have that as like an Airbnb or something like that. And also, just have your sister run the wine cellar and come back every now and then to do events. Because, to be quite honest with you, there are a lot of relationships who are like, especially if you have two very financially successful people, you live your life on an airplane, especially if you're in the entertainment industry. Like, you're filming all across the globe. So I don't think it's weird that her fiance lives in LA and she lives in Atlanta. Especially when you have the money to hop on a plane and go see that person whenever. Michael Strahan works in Los Angeles and in New York. He works in New York Monday through, I believe, Thursday or probably Friday. And then after the show films in the afternoon, he hops on a plane and he goes back to LA. He spends time with his kids and he films his radio show until Sunday evening. And then he hops on the plane and he's back in New York to do it all over again. So it's very feasible if you have the coin to, put into, flying back and forth to do whatever you have to do. So I feel like it's a relationship that can work. However, if she's not living in Atlanta, she can't be on the show. So I think what she's probably going to do is pull a Tinsley. And I think that's genius. Tinsley did it for 3 seasons, got paid the same check, and then after the show wrapped, went right back to Chicago and got up under Scott. That's what Cynthia should do. But I think with her sister mentioning, like, what is she going to do when she marries Mike, I think that's starting to get the ball rolling on probably Cynthia's exit, because I don't know if the show is going to allow her to do that. And again, each show has a different production company. So it's all up to the production company. Tinsley's, in New York, that production company allows her to do that. I don't know if this production company is going to allow Cynthia to only live in Atlanta to film the show. I mean, she will be back in Atlanta because of the wine cellar and, she has a property there. So I see her coming back and forth, but I see her fully living in Los Angeles with Mike. I mean, smart, and it makes sense. I don't think that she would be able to join Beverly Hills, though, because they already have Garcelle. But, I mean, with these shows, they're struggling in the ratings, especially Beverly Hills. I think it would probably make sense to have somebody from your highest rated Housewives show, not just your highest rated Housewives show, your highest rated show on the network, to come to Beverly Hills that has been struggling in the ratings. So, Garcelle and Cynthia, I think, would be great additions to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, because even now, that Beverly Hills trailer did not look interesting. Y'all gonna need something. Y'all gonna need something to do this season. I hope that, Lesbian Gate is something that will help. I know a lot of you guys don't like Brandi Glanville, but they need to bring her back. She was the only one who shook them broads up and gave us a season. So I don't know. How do you guys feel about Cynthia joining the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? Do you think it's a good fit? Do you think it's a smart move because she brings ratings, or, she comes from a show that has great ratings? What do you think? I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it at all. Let's talk about it in the comment section. Oh, Porsha. It's really sad to see Porsha fighting to stay in a relationship with medium Jermaine Dupri. I mean, girl, especially now with this belly he got. I'm like, Porsha. Oh, I know that's your baby father, but girl, you don't gotta make it work. Like, you don't have to make it work with him. And I just feel like she could have done so much better. I feel like even on Porsha's worst day, she could have done better, but she chose this man, and She is really trying to make it work with a man that is not trying to make it work with her. And it's just so embarrassing to watch because she still wants to marry this man. She still wants to have a wedding. She's still trying to, live with him in the same, home. And he doesn't want any of that. He doesn't want any of that. Like all of a sudden he's talking a prenup when he's the one who cheated. And his thing is, oh, well, the only reason why I want a prenup is because you put me out. Because you cheated. Like Porsha didn't put you out of the home because she was just upset with you for being you. Well, maybe she was, but you cheated. That's why you're out of the home. So now you want a prenup. Porsha, do it. If you want to marry this man, sign the prenup, but you put a clause in that prenup that if this man cheats on you, the prenup is null and void. And you also get a cheating fee. So many wealthy LA wives have that in their like divorce decree or whatever. They all have some kind of, like clause where if the man cheats, they get like, $16 million or something like that. Put that clause in the whole prenup and all that stuff. If that's what he wants to do, fine. But if you cheat on me, I'm getting $16 million. Period. If that's what he wants to do, like the freaking mental gymnastics that this man had to do to get to the point where she is at fault for him cheating because he was kicked out of her home. So now he wants a prenup because everything is hers. What? Like the fact that he threw that back at her, and you could tell that this was real because all of a sudden Porsha didn't want to film this scene anymore. All of a sudden, I don't want to talk to you because you're being mean. I don't want to have this conversation anymore because some real stuff was about to come up and she did not want that to be on TV. But since we already saw it, the way like he was talking to you, and it's just like, how do you not have the upper hand in this relationship? It's so upsetting. It's so upsetting to see, and I feel like she's trying to make it work with PJ. I honestly feel like Porsha, this is the thing about getting older as a woman, right? Our womb and producing has an expiration date. I feel like when a woman starts to get close to the age where it's going to be very hard or damn near impossible to have a child, she starts like settling bigly, you know what I mean? Like just removing huge chunks off of her list for a mate just to have a child. And I feel like, I'm so sorry, Porsha. I don't want to say it, but I feel like this is where we're at with Porsha. I feel like Porsha wanted to have a child and, for her, maybe the, window was closing and she saw somebody who she could have an okay life with and chose that. And also probably because she's just like, I'm this hot girl. I got a lot of money. I'm on TV. He'll be happy to have a woman like me. See, that's the thing. With tender-eyed men, you can't play around with them either because even if he's tender-eyed, he's still a man. Even if he's short, he's still a man. Even if he's broke, he's still a man. So you can't, as this like, beautiful rich woman, think that, oh, I got all of these things. He would never, do that to me. Hello, Maria Shriver, the Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger himself. Not only did he cheat on her, he also cheated on her with a woman who did not add up to a Maria Shriver Kennedy. Like, she's a freaking Kennedy. You're cheating on her with the help who is, not Maria Shriver in the face. Like, can we just be real? Let's tell the truth and shame the devil. So it's like when women start to give chances to these kind of dudes thinking that they'll treat you better, no, he won't. He won't. Like, you might think that you're the bee's knees and this man would never do that to you. You gotta go for the heart. What kind of dude are you picking? Because at the end of the day, he's still a man. You might think he's less than because he's short. You might think he's less than because he's tender-eyed. You might think he's less than because he's broke. But at the end of the day, that man still looks in the mirror and he realizes that he is a man and he can do whatever he wants. So, I think that's what's happening here. I think she thought that he would treat her better because of how she looked, what kind of money she got, and because she's on TV, she has some kind of fame. I think she thought this dude would do right, even if he wasn't doing right by other women. No, me? He got me. Oh, he gonna treat me right. No, they don't. That doesn't matter to them. That matters to you. That don't matter to them. They know who they are. We don't know who we are. And I feel like she's in this unfortunate situation and it's really sad. And I think because of PJ, she's trying to make it work. And I don't think you should try to make it work. How many times does he have to show you that he does not value you the same way before you get it? I hate that you're here, sis. I hate that you're here. Oh, let's talk about Eva. I'm glad that she, got her home. I really, really am. I'm glad that she's so happy that she has her home. I am shocked because I feel like, now, I don't even think that the front of her home is what her actual home is. I think it's probably a model home, the front of it, the B-roll of it. I think that's what it is, but I am shocked that she was allowing, the cameraman to get like all of these shots within her home, her lived in home. I'm like, you just got there and there's stickers on the wall. Like, stickers on the wall. Not in my McMansion. But I was shocked that she was allowing so much footage of her home to be put on the show. But I think she was just very happy, because a lot of people dragged her, said that she didn't have the same amount of money as the other ladies, and, was dragging the fact that she was in a townhome. Like, that was bad. Like, you know what I mean? She had a condo, then she had a townhome. How is that bad? She has a home. She has a roof over her head. But again, these shows are about, living in the, life of luxury. So you got to like have those things to be on this show. So now she finally has that and she feels, vindicated. And I'm glad that she has that. I'm glad that she has a home. I'm glad that she's in a happy marriage. I'm glad she has wonderful children, beautiful, healthy kids. I'm glad that she has all of that. But she needs to have a storyline other than the fact that my ex is crazy. Because he is, right? We all know that. And I feel like the more she talks about him, the more fuel she gives a mentally unstable man to come after her. So I'm just like, you got to stop talking about this dude. He's not well. We all know that. And you are saying that you're terrified. If you're so terrified, stop speaking about him. Not saying that she's not, but I'm like, I wouldn't play with that crazy. And I don't even know that man. I wouldn't play with it. Why are you calling him out every chance you get? And I think that she's doing that because she doesn't have anything else going on. So I'm hoping next season, if you do come back, that you have something going on. You know what, sis? In order to keep your peach. In order to keep your peach, this might be the season for you to come after Kenya. You're going to have to go big next season. So next season, don't get pregnant. Go after Kenya. That is how you solidify your peach for multiple seasons, because you got to come hard next season because you haven't given us anything from the time that you've been on the show. You've been pregnant. That's amazing. This show is a magnified version of soap operas. You know what I mean? Of Dynasty, of telenovelas. We want the drama. We want some conflict. We also want you guys having a good time and, seeing, blips of your real life, but we really don't care about that. No shade. We don't care about the kids. We don't. No shade. We don't care about your parents. No shade. We don't care about the husbands. We want to, we want some dynasty. We want some drinks thrown. We want somebody being pushed into a fountain. We want some shade. We want some tea. We also want some fashion. We're not watching your Facebook photo album. That's the thing. And that's what she's essentially been giving us. So hopefully next season, you come hard. You better go for Kenya. You know what? But I think you're going to go for Nene. That's low-hanging fruit at this point. You know what I mean? Like, she's not the queen of Atlanta anymore. There's no queens of Atlanta. You know what? No, I take that back. Kandi is the queen of Atlanta, but she's too sweet to go after. You got to go after Kenya, but I think you're going to go after Nene. That's still going to be very interesting. I will say, don't underestimate her though. That mouth is something else. You go after her and she reads you for filth in her confessional. You know what happens? That becomes a viral meme, and all of a sudden that one read that Nene had of you is something that will live in the history of social media forever. So be careful. Know your enemy. Go after Kenya too. Oh, Kenya will have a nice read for you too. A nasty read. Oh, go big or go home, Eva. Go big or go home. And since we're here, let's talk about the queen of Atlanta, Miss Kandi Burruss herself. You know what? My last review, I was a little perturbed because we can always agree to disagree. Like, you can agree with me, disagree with me. It doesn't matter. I have no problem with that, right? I always say, let's talk about it. Let's discuss. Because you may have a different perspective than and I might see something different through you. You might see something different through me. You might have additional information, because I just watch this show and I go on about my business. A lot of you guys follow these ladies and know additional things, and I'm literally just commenting on the episode that I watch. That's why my opinion changes changes so much because I'm not invested in their lives. I'm not invested in these people. I'm just looking at characters on a TV show and I'm just commenting about the episode. So I have no favorites. I have no agenda. I'm not a stan or anything like that. I'm just watching the episode, and whatever they give me, this is my opinion of the episode, not the people, just the episode. So I don't mind discussions. I do mind you saying things that I did not say. So there were a lot of people, not a lot, but just a few in the comment section who were saying things that I did not say. And the thing that bothered me was just like, I feel like sometimes when I'm on here talking about these characters, some people get hit, with the old, black church mother saying, it's a hit dog a holler. So just because you're affected by something that I'm saying, just know that I don't know you. I don't know your life, so I'm not talking about your situation. And I felt like there were a few women who were really bothered by the fact that I was team Kandi. And I felt like the comments that I made hit you in your internalized misogyny, because that's the only thing that makes sense here. Because how are you mad that this woman is wealthy and has to continue to work to maintain this lifestyle? When I said I agree with Todd, that still wasn't good enough. So I'm just like, I'm agreeing with Todd. I feel like she should be home a bit more, but I'm not mad at her. I don't hate her. I'm not insulting her. I don't think that what she's doing is wrong. I'm actually really proud of the fact that she's taking care of her family and others. I think that's huge. I think that's amazing to see a Black woman being booked and busy. Some people didn't like that. And the only explanation for that could possibly be your internalized misogyny. Because I was reading a few of those comments and I was like, this is exactly why we do not have a female president right now. This is exactly why we have that idiot, because there are some women who believe that having a man, no matter how ridiculous of a person he is much better than having a woman. And that's really sad. That's really sad, because I feel like if the tables were turned, if Todd was the one who was, coming in and, going back out to do work, I don't think the same people who had a comment about Kandi going out to work and how terrible of a mother she is, I don't think you would have said that about Todd. So unpack that. Don't attack Kandi for being booked and busy. Unpack why you think a woman can't be. That's something that you need to invest in instead of coming here and tearing down another woman. I just was not okay with that. I really felt like if the tables were turned, a lot of those same people would not have the same heat for Todd. Does Kandi work too much? Absolutely. Does Kandi take care of way too many people? Absolutely. I think that she should slow down. I even said in my last review from watching that if my child was crying over FaceTime from just seeing me and wanting me to be home, I probably would not come back home and then go out and build up and, book my weekend for all of these things, especially after my child was crying because they missed me. I even said in my last review, Kandi, you are the boss. Don't put it on Don Juan. He cannot book up your schedule unless you say okay to it. If that is not your situation, then you need to change that. He needs to check in with you to see if you want to do that. What a manager essentially does, and I think Don Juan is her manager, he manages a lot of her business. What they normally do is they're supposed to soft book you for events and things, and then after they negotiate the time and the money, get back to the talent and say, this is the offer. Do you want to do this? As talent, you can say no. So that's the thing. Kandi is also a boss, but she's also talent. Now, let's talk about her pulling back on work. She can't, guys. She really can't. She not only takes care of a lot of people, she's also a boss. She's not just a CEO. She is the owner. Take, for example, what's happening right now. A lot of people have been laid off. You know why you have been laid off? Because the work isn't coming in. So what the owner of the company now has to do is start cutting. And they start to cut at the bottom because they can no longer afford to take care of those at the bottom, because they much rather cut those who they think are not as important to the company than the CEOs, than the CFOs, than those big wigs that are essentially running the company when the owner is just sitting back and collecting the coin. So what happens then when she cuts down? People get fired. People get laid off. Kandi cries at the drop of a dime. She can't handle that. Kandi also needs to stop taking care of all of these people. She can't do it. It has to happen, right? It's the right thing to do. She has to pull back. But then when she does those things, you also have to realize that she has to deal with the emotional responsibility that's going to come with that. That's going to come with the people who are getting laid off from her company because she's pulling back. Those same people go on to Twitter and Instagram and dragging that woman for filth. And a lot of you who don't like her will join in on it. Then she got to cut back from taking care of people that she's been taking care of for years since she was a kid. Then those same people are going to Twitter and Instagram and dragging her for filth. And them same people who hate her for being booked and busy will join in on that as well. Then that starts to give a bad look or put a bad image on somebody who makes money off of her image. None of this will go well for her. So the only option for her is to continue to work and have a partner who supports that. I hope you all heard when she was talking to Todd and he was talking about how much she worked. She said, you too. When they were sitting down with Michelle, who Todd made a comment about his name. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Woo, pray for straight women. We are not doing well. The options are slim. So when she said to him, oh, you work as well. We both work a lot. So we both have to slow down. Todd never said anything about that. Like, oh no, you work more than me. He agreed because he does as well. So if she was saying the same thing to him, would you guys be as upset at Todd as you are at Kandi? I'm telling you, I was combing through them comments and I was just like, I can't believe that the one person on this show that has the most vicious fan base is Todd, not Kenya. Not Kenya. I had one Kenya stan. That was it. Everybody else was toddlers. That's who I call y'all now. That is Todd's fan base, the toddlers. They were so defensive for him and like just taking down Kandi. And it was just like, oh, this is women. This is women. He works just as much. When I made that comment about, wow, he can't take the kid to Chicago, she asked him to. She comes back to Atlanta because Todd and her son are there. All I was saying is, you just can't come to Atlanta. You just can't take the kid to Chicago for a couple days so that she can see him and not have to fly back. And that time that she would have spent flying back and forth, she can spend with you two since you want to see her that much. If Todd would have said something like, oh, I have to work, I got to do this, I got to do that, then I would have been like, okay, well, y'all got to figure out another way. The fact that he said, oh, I got stuff to do and none of it was work, that was my issue. I also think for me, this is normal. So maybe it was also a little personal offense that I felt because I'm just like, oh, this is going to be my life. Like anybody who's working in the entertainment industry, this is your life. Like a lot of people, one of my really good friends is raising her kid on a private jet. That's just life. You got to fly back and forth to certain destinations because this is how you work in the entertainment industry. Unless you work for a network, you're not clocking in 9 to 5. You're working 3 days in Sweden, then you're doing 2 days in Australia, then you got to go back to LA and work on a Fox lot and do reshoots. That's just the reality. And if you have the money, your kids are coming with you. So you're paying for nannies, you're paying for tutors, you're paying for private jets because you got to go back and forth with your kids. How do you think Beyonce raised all them children? They go to school when they can. The rest of the time, those kids are traveling with their parents. And so it's a team that helps the parents take care of those kids. They're traveling with them as well. One of the kid actors that I was working on the show with got multiple nannies. They got a daytime nanny, they got a nighttime nanny, they got an afternoon nanny, one nanny to take them to their extracurricular activities. Is it right? I'm not going to say no. Is it ideal? Probably not, especially for a lot of us because we were raised with parents who clocked in at 9 to 5 and we went to school and then came back. That's normal for you. That's not normal for the entertainment industry. I'm looking at the situation like it makes sense. You know what I mean? Sometimes you as the partner who is not working currently is going to have to take the kids to go see the parent. I forget what interview that, who is it? Who are these actors? What is his name? Kevin Bacon and his wife. What is his wife's name? Kevin Bacon and his wife. I forget her name. What is her name? Damn it. I love her acting. But they have this rule where they never work the same time. So his wife is booked on a TV show. He's not working during that time. He might do like little small things like maybe do a guest spot that will take him away from the kids for like 2 weeks or so. Have like his parents watch the kids, but that's it. Because they don't want to be away from each other or from the children that long. So he says that he takes his children to set every day to see their mom. They all spend lunch together. That is what he's doing as the husband. She does the same thing. When he books a film, she don't work. She don't take anything. Again, they have the money where they can do that. Todd and Kandi have the same situation. What's happening here is that you have one person who entered into the marriage knowing who their partner was. Like Todd was a cameraman on the show. not a producer, a cameraman. So he knew what he was getting into because he followed this woman's story. So he knew what he was getting into when he got with Kandi. You cannot get into a situation and then have children that you both agreed upon and all of a sudden want to change up things because you're not working. Because now I feel like Todd is just in his feelings because he's not doing the same amount of work. So if he was working just as much as Kandi, there wouldn't be any issues because they have been working the same amount of time. When Kandi was working on the show and he was working on Hollywood Divas or whatever, they were both in different places. He was in LA, she was in Atlanta. There was no problem then. Now it's a problem because he is not currently booked on something. That's it. So he has all this time to think and resent his wife because she's working. But when he's working, he doesn't have a problem. That's what it is. He got all this time on his hand. He got idle time. And we know what happens when you got idle time. The devil starts a working. And that's what's happening here. I'm not mad at her for being booked and busy. I'm not mad at her for doing what she has to do to take care of her family. I do have an issue with her husband who is now pouting because he doesn't want to accept a low ball offer. Not that he's not getting work. He doesn't want to accept the work because he feels like he can get more. You probably could. But that's just Hollywood. Sometimes you take a low ball offer just to get you to the next point where you can now create and accept bigger offers. That's just how the industry works. But instead of just sitting at home, pouting and being mad at your wife for working, why don't you join her? I honestly feel like if he was working on the show, there would not be any issues. It's an issue now. He is not sitting at home all the time with Ace. They have a nanny, guys. They have a nanny. I think they have another nanny too. They have multiple nannies. I do feel like the both of them probably need to sit down or maybe sit out a season, but they won't do that because they got another baby coming. Again, this is how I think about it. I don't have Kandi's schedule. I don't have Kandi's coin. So I don't know. So I would probably have a difference of opinion even about that if I was making her money, if I had her schedule, if I had her commitments. Guys, Kandi is an entertainer. Aside from being a business owner, she's also an entertainer. That is her biggest check. Not even the writing. The writing brings in money, but her being an entertainer, that is even bigger because she has to continue to be in people's faces, to continue to make these deals, and to continue to ask for a certain amount of money. And the entertainment industry is out of sight, out of mind. If people don't see you, they do not care. So with this woman being in the entertainment industry, she has to stay in your face so she can sell you these things, so that she can go to different companies and negotiate a fair price. That's what it is. So that's why she wanted to go to the Rock Nation brunch. I honestly think she probably just would have wanted to be home with Todd and her son. But if you're not at the Rock Nation brunch and people aren't seeing your face, if you're not taking a picture with Jay-Z and Beyonce, somebody else is your competition, then you're putting yourself in a situation where you're putting your livelihood at risk. That's just what it is. You got to continue to stay out there. You got to continue to go to these events. You think people want to go to all these parties and all these events, especially when you got a family, especially when you're working all these hours? You think they want to do that? They have to, because you as an audience have to continue to pay attention to them so that they can make the same amount of money. Team Kandi still. Team Kandi still. Like I said, I think she needs to pull back. But I think that a lot of people who are getting mad at her for working so much do not realize that when she pulls back, she puts a lot of her livelihood in jeopardy. And I don't think Kandi or Todd wants to live like us, okay? So I think we just need to take that in mind when you're critiquing Kandi. But I think the people who are critiquing Kandi never liked her from the beginning. This is the first time I realized that not everybody loves Kandi. Child, I found that out. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about concerning this episode. What did you think? Let's talk about it. Lord, I don't want to get into that comment section, but I'm gonna have to. So let's discuss it. Agree, disagree, it is what it is, but let's have a chat in the comment section below. And if you like what you see here, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will see you next week for the following episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Team Kandi. Team Kandi. Love you guys. Bye. Even the toddlers